course, Gorsuch would restore the conservative balance of the court. Of the 9 Supreme Court justices, 5 leaned right, while 4 leaned left. When Antonin Scalia died, the court was split 4-4, but Gorsuch will now give conservatives that key tie-breaking vote. So let's bring in ABC's chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, to talk about the impact of that. And there will be an immediate one, likely. One of the big cases going forward comes out of Missouri regarding the separation of church and state.
Yeah, we're talking about oral arguments literally in a week from now. So getting Gorsuch on the court now means immediately hearing some of these important cases. And as you point out, in Missouri, a critical case there, because in Missouri, the state constitution basically says can't use public funds for religious institutions. And you've got a church saying, look, we want to upgrade our playground. Why can't we get access to some of those funds? This case is not just going to be about Missouri. When the court rules on this, this could have a huge impact generally on the separation of church and state. And
there are quite a few other controversial cases as well that are going to be impacted by this.
Yeah, when Gorsuch gets on the court, a number of other big cases to consider. There's a voting rights case that could come back up in North Carolina about what sorts of identification someone has to have in order to vote. Is that constitutional? Does it pass the Voting Rights Act? You've got a potential Second Amendment fight, gun rights, over a right to carry a concealed weapon. You've got a big trademark case which could impact whether the Washington Redskins can continue to use that trademark. So a lot of really interesting cases that Gorsuch will immediately have an impact on.
And there were those cases that ended in a 4-4 tie.
Right. Those were sent back to the appellate courts, right? And so the appellate court ruling stood. Expect many of those cases to end up back in front of the court.
All right, Dan Abrams, thank you.